We return now to our lead story on the final word. Defense Chief Gibo Teodoro bears President Bongbong Marcos' first marching order: fix the military pension system. Secretary Teodoro joins us now live. Thank you so much for joining us, Secretary Gibo. Let's take a look first and tackle this pension system. How serious is it, and how do you plan to tackle it as per the marching orders of the President?
Well, it's quite serious because it's a big financial drain on our current yearly appropriations. And since the salaries were increased, it takes a chunk out of our national pie. And we really need to find a new system which will ease the hemorrhage, and balancing two things. Number one is financial sustainability, not only of the pension system, but the whole economy, because you know what happens when the government has a deficit, inflation happens, and other undesirable effects on the economy. And giving due regard to the sacrifices, service, and morale of our men, women in uniform. Naturally, there is no debate about the retirees. We have to take care of them. That was a blood compact with them. However, we really need to find a more sustainable system of taking care of our soldiers when they leave the service. We also know that self-sustaining fund takes time to build up. It takes time to load up until such time as it does not need any more, the daily bottle feeding from the government. Yeah. And the sooner we start on it, the better.
So,
now,
Secretary,
I see my role basically as an intermediator between the recipients, the soldiers, and the legislature and our economic managers. A lot of work has already been done. I will be briefed thoroughly about the specifics and details tomorrow. I'll certainly give my 2 cents worth, having come also from financial sector. What I really want to put in is whatever is done. Naturally, we have to take risks in order for growth to occur, but at the end of the day, prudential standards have to be built into whatever system is created, and the people that run it must conform as much as possible to the fit and proper rule, like what is imposed by the PSP on BSP regulated financial or supervised financial institutions.
So, Secretary Gibo, how much time are you giving yourself to resolve the problems within the pension system? Will it be resolved in 2025, 26, before the end of President Bongbong Marcos' term in 2028?
No, a new system must be in place as soon as possible. However, the effect of this new system, of course, shall be felt over time, with a reducing amount of reliance on the yearly GAA appropriations. So the sooner we set the basis for a sound financial and pension system, with a buy-in, naturally, from everyone concerned, with all the stakeholders, the better. And I think the beneficiaries, our men and women in uniform, are not numb to the fact that they need to help, whether financially or whether, of course, they're already giving a great service to a qualitative service which cannot be valued in terms of pesos and centavos. But I think at the end of the day, they will not be averse to participating in a scheme just as long as they are assured that they will be taken care of when it comes the time that they need it. And that there will be no hanky-panky in managing what they contribute. Now, there are other non-monetary benefits that they can avail of. For example, we have to invest in continuing education. higher education in all our agencies, not only in the armed forces of the Philippines, so that they learn new skills, they become employable even
Yeah.
after they leave the service, and they become desirable targets for employment after the service for legitimate growth enterprises in our country, so that they become participants and multipliers in a productive way in our economy. There are, other non-monetary schemes which may be contributory. For example, accident insurance, group insurance, and they get free medical benefits. And finally, at the end of the day, the career path in the military and the monetary benefits are still very attractive when compared to the private sector.
Secretary Teodoro, on the issue of national security, what will it take for the country to have a credible defense posture in light of the tensions, the geopolitical tensions in the region? You have the West Philippine Sea, China, Taiwan, North Korea.
Rico, at the end of the day, it will take a lot of resources. Now, our job really is to make sure that we get the most amount possible for what we really need. And what my job will be to get the wish list for the missions that our clients really need, the armed forces and the other agencies of under the supervision of the DND, and to try to get the best possible outcomes for them on a sustainable basis, on the basis of life cycles of what they acquire, on the basis of their skills. That's the job of the Department of National Defense. And may I pitch that we need to reform the department itself. Can you imagine that we only have 300 or so plantilla positions with a stakeholder base of almost 1 million and with 127 or so billion pesos assets under management with only 300 employees. So the department proper needs a lot of investment in continuing education to enable us to do what we need to do as service providers for our 5 agencies. The Secretary of Defense, as I reiterate, is not a chief of staff, but a service provider and a resource manager, counsel to the President in terms of national security. And in order to do this, we need the infrastructure on our own department itself. And I hope Congress responds to this call, not only in terms of building our physical capabilities, but also in continuing education and building our expertise. We want a new Department of National Defense, not for today, but for future problems which we don't even think of at the present time and which may afflict future generations.
Secretary Teodoro, there are calls from certain quarters to restart talks with the Communist Party and the New People's Army. Are you considering this?
No, not at all. I've never considered it. Why? Because if they want to return to the fold of law, they will be rehabilitated, they will be taught skills, they will be resettled. There is no reason whatsoever to talks with the Communist Party of the Philippines because it undercuts and undermines the democratic process. I mean, there's no ideology involved in so far as I'm concerned. Maybe some are really ideologically committed, but the end is to gain political power. And through the revisionism from Marx, Lenin, Stalin, Mao, etc., it's all to gain political power. That's why you see the sole authority of the Communist Party and the so-called dictatorship of the proletariat, which is really a way of keeping a clique in power and gaining power. So there's the election process, the electoral process. Anyway, Republic Act 1700, which banned this legitimate communist party, communist thought, and not those who seek to subvert the society by providing aid and comfort to armed elements and armed ways of seeking power, has already been repealed. They can run for office. What we cannot tolerate is legitimizing their existence when they have already been reduced in number because of development and because of the awakening of the realization, the awakening of our people to the reality that what they do not practice what they preach. Their aims are different from what they pretend to preach.
Secretary Gibo Teodoro, thank you so much for joining us on The Final Word, and congratulations on your appointment.
Thank you, Rico, and my apologies once again for the mix-up.
No problem, Secretary. See you again soon.